Welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled Podcast. My name is Ben Tuine, and I'm one of the co-hosts of this podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping practices that are tangled up with insurance. We talk about topics that help you take more control and create a bigger and better and brighter future for you, your patients, and of course, your team members. Today, my guest is my sexy podcast co-host, Jordan Comstock. Hey, what's up, Jordan?
What's up, dog? How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Hey, Jordan.
What's up, Naren?
And we're also
quite the introduction.
Well.
Yeah.
So all three of us are co-hosts on this podcast, Naren, Jordan, and myself. You know, Jordan, thank you for joining us today and being willing to talk about membership plans. But before we jump into that, can you take a minute to sort of introduce yourself, Jordan, to our listeners and tell them why you're passionate about helping dental practices untangle this whole insurance mess they're in now? And
all the BS, yeah.
Yeah, and slowly and thoughtfully over a long-term period, get out of this mess.
Yeah, sure, Ben. So my name is Jordan Comstock, been in the dental industry for some time, over 15 years. I grew up in dentistry, right? My dad owns a dental lab, and my mom's an office manager. Like, we always talk dentistry at family barbecues. It's kind of ridiculous. So I grew up, like I said, in dentistry. I remember my dad bringing home denture cases and working on them in the garage. It was the weirdest thing in the world as a kid, seeing my dad pull out a denture and like grind on it in the garage. And I always told myself that I would never be in dentistry, but here I am. In dentistry. I managed the dental lab for about eight years. So I got to know a lot of how the industry works and a lot of the problems that dentists face, running their businesses. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest one was we'd always get practices calling the dental lab and asking us, the lab, to reduce our costs so a patient that had a really bad, PPO plan, so the patient could get the care that they needed, at a price that would be profitable for the dentist, right? Which was hard because I'm like, I didn't sign the PPO contract, and here I'm having to be forced to discount just to keep this client happy, right? It became a pain point for me, right? I'm like, man, insurance is kind of a pain in the butt. Like I don't sign these PPO contracts, but yet I'm affected by them, through the dental lab. Mm-hmm. It always bothered me. And then our practice would call in and kind of vent and say, insurance is really rough to work with. I'm like, what? Then why are you choosing to work with it? Like, you don't have to, and because we're here in Utah, and it seems like every dentist here in Utah signs up with every PPO under the sun, mm-hmm. And it really became a pain point for me in the industry. And I just simply asked myself, what can we do to help practices combat this insurance? And one day I walked into a dental office after I read a book actually called The Automatic Customer. Mm-hmm. So it teaches you how to create subscription revenue with any business. And I walked into a multi-location dental office that was one of our clients at the time at the dental lab, and they had just launched a new membership plan. And I was fascinated by it. This was probably 2013, 2014. Membership plans weren't talked about a lot like they are today. Back then, and I simply started asking, the CEO of the office, why they were doing that and why it was beneficial. And I asked them how they managed it, and they pulled out a binder and started flipping through it and showing me, how their team management. And they pointed to the back to all the cubicles, and like, yeah, these are all the people that manage all of each location, the membership plan. And I'm like, you have people running this? Wow. Like you could have software. And then I just asked them, I said, hey, I can create a software tool that can help you guys manage this. Because at the time I wasn't just working at the dental lab. I went to school and I studied, UI, UX design because I knew I wanted to build a software company. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got into this, right? Just listening to our practices venting, and then taking action and building a software tool that helps practices build and scale dental membership plans.
That's awesome.
There's I think quick story.
Yeah, dentistry in your bones.
Yeah, it's more like monomer in my blood.
That's funny.
That's a dental lab joke. Only dental lab guys get it.
Darren, you got a comment or question there now?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the best type of companies are the ones that see a problem and solve it. And I think being an insider and like really understanding like how inefficient, ineffective the old ways of doing things were, you kind of used your imagination and creativity and figured out a way to solve it. And I guess like you still innovate, right? You still keep coming up with new ideas, new ways to
have to.
Members.
You have to, and I learned that at the dental lab. My dad, when I started running the dental lab, my dad was really outdated in terms of business management strategies, right? I don't think he was automating payments, for the lab. We were still getting checks, and I'm like, seriously, dude, like this is the 21st century. Like we're not. He ran it like it was in the 80s, 90s, right? Still. So I had to figure out how to innovate that business, which kind of built that skill set for me.
That's cool. You have a very creative mind, Jordan. Since meeting you, and it's like, man, you come up with these amazing ideas.
It's Ben.
Yeah, man. So, quick question. So, for listeners that don't understand this concept of membership plans in dentistry, that is, can you sort of give us some background and history what a membership plan is in a dental practice?
Yeah. So, think like Amazon Prime. Outside of dentistry, right? You pay $130 a year. I don't know what it is anymore. I don't even keep track of it. But think Amazon Prime, right? Where basically patients pay you a monthly or yearly subscription in exchange for benefits that you design, right? No third party designs them. You design them.
Right.
And if you use a company like BoomCloud, we obviously help. But a patient will pay you a monthly fee to get cleanings, exams, x-rays, or they could pay you a monthly fee to get unlimited whitening subscriptions, right? That's a popular thing that's happening right now in the membership space of dentistry. But really, if you look outside of dentistry, we live in a subscription economy. Everything is a subscription now. I mean, Ben, Taco Bell just made their subscription plan. I don't know if you've seen that.
Heard of it.
And in the first quarter, they generated $1 million in monthly recurring revenue, right? Wow. And it continues to scale, right? So Taco Bell gets why subscriptions are powerful, right? Like I said, Amazon, Costco, Netflix, there's so much out there that you could subscribe. I don't know if you guys subscribe to anything, like maybe you have a hobby, like I play the guitar. There's guitar subscriptions that you can get, like guitar strings sent to you automatically every month, right? If you play the guitar a lot. There's a lot of different subscription plans out there. Even I think it's BMW that just launched a subscription for heat warmers in their seats.
Used to just be for the navigational system.
Yeah, now they got like, hey, you want heat warmers? Pay us.
Wow.
Right. So there's a lot of companies out there. I mean, I have a Toyota Tundra and I have a subscription to like unlock my car and start my car through my phone, right? I think I pay like $10 a month. So businesses outside of dentistry understand this, and inside of dentistry, it's one of the best things you can do for your practice. So think like Amazon Prime, think like some of these big companies that have, just Amazon Prime alone has a multi-billion-dollar membership plan.
Oh yeah.
Whether they sell things on their website or not, they're making billions of dollars to their membership plan. So think like them, because you want that same business model. Even if you look at the insurance industry, I know most people don't like insurance, but honestly, they have a wonderful business model.
Oh yeah.
It's why they have some of the biggest buildings in your city or state, right? Because they have a powerful subscription model that allows them to grow and scale their business. And if all these other companies are doing it, as a dentist, you should have this type of business model in your practice too.
Who was I talking to the other day that was saying that the number one private equity investment right now? Anybody want to take a guess?
Dental.
Is it dental?
Nope.
No.
Car washes.
Oh yeah. Dude, down the street from our house, Ben, there's another car wash popping up. And and they have a subscription model as well.
Like I know there's a subscription model in the car wash close to us, like $20 and unlimited.
Yeah, I pay I pay a subscription to a car wash, that's another good example. Another example, like I take my kids to like these indoor playgrounds and arcades, and they have a subscription model as well that you can subscribe to.
Yeah.
And I actually looked at the profit and loss statement for one of these businesses because I'm looking at purchasing one to own. And a large chunk of the revenue is coming through the membership plan. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's amazing.
Just like at Fat Cats, we have a membership there too, or at least their annual membership. And guess what? When we go watch movies, we're watching movies at Fat Cats. When we're buying popcorn, we're buying popcorn at Fat Cats. There's a lot of additional revenue that they capture from users, right?
Sure.
I guess this is pretty genius, Jordan. When you talk about membership plans as the ultimate strategy for dental offices, can you elaborate a little bit more into that for our listeners?
Yeah. So why I think it's the ultimate strategy is because it creates loyal patients, whether they have dental insurance or whether they don't, right? You're creating a loyal patient, especially if your city or town has a lot of other dental offices that they can go to, right? Like here in Utah, Ben, there's a dentist on every street corner, it seems.
Right.
Just outside of our neighborhood, there's like 3 dentists, right? That are like behind our neighborhood.
I'm seeing from my backyard.
Yeah, totally. So when you implement a membership program, it helps you create a patient loyalty system, right? And a revenue system that helps expand revenue from your patients and keep them loyal. I think that's the reason why you would want to create this. This is why it's the ultimate strategy, is because you can reduce dependence on insurance and convert those patients over to your membership plan, and they're gonna be loyal to your practice. They're committing with their wallets, right? Like we are to a car wash down the street, right? If I pay a subscription to a car wash down the street, I'm not gonna go to the car wash by my office, right? Because there's one by my house that I'm already paying. I've committed with my wallet, right? And honestly, that's what makes it the ultimate strategy, right? Power to reduce dependence on insurance, power to increase loyalty, and there's some more benefits that I'll talk about in a minute, but that's why it's the ultimate strategy if you just look at those 2 things.
Love it.
I was going to say, Ben, when it comes to the 2 benefits you mentioned, loyalty and did you talk about recurring revenue? Obviously you did, right?
So that is one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, from a cash business. So here's some of the other benefits, right? The ultimate strategy is you can reduce dependence on PPOs and increase loyalty, right? That's why what makes it a membership plan, the best business strategy in the business. Some of the other benefits are the following, right? You can produce a predictable recurring revenue stream, which is one of my favorite benefits. Like I said, I used to manage a dental lab that follows the feast and famine trends of dentistry. And it's really hard to run those types of businesses because you don't have predictable recurring revenue. And a membership plan, you can scale it to provide revenue infusions into the business at certain dates of the month. Let's say you charge everybody $35 a month on the 1st and the 15th, right before your payroll periods, right? So now you get cash infusions into the business that makes you able to run payroll on time and not worry about that, right? Because running the dental lab, it was really challenging for us to get all the collections in before payroll, right? So sometimes we had to extend our payroll dates because we were waiting for cash to come in. The same is true for a dental office. If you're waiting for insurance to pay you, and all the BS that you have to deal with there from a cash flow perspective, cash flow is king, right? So recurring revenues is after the patient loyalty and reducing dependence on insurance. Cash flow or recurring revenue from membership programs is very, very powerful because, like I said, Amazon has a multi-billion-dollar membership plan, whether they sell products on the website or not. Right now, you have the power to generate revenue within your practice, whether you do dentistry or not. And that is a very powerful strategy for your practice as somebody who's, can be stuck in the chair some days. And what happens if you want to go on vacation? Then your chairs aren't producing as much, right?
I think it's like almost like converting your business from it being you work for the business rather the business works for you. So
exactly.
on that day, even if you didn't show up, or even if your hygienist didn't show up, the amount of money just shows up in your bank account, right?
Yeah.
So
And
it's starting to kind of make that shift where the business is generating money on its own.
yeah. And recurring revenue is so powerful because it empowers the owner of the business to work on the business versus working in it, right? If you've read E-Myth, that's a wonderful book. But that's really one of the most powerful business benefits of implementing a membership program. Now, you're not going to do that by just signing up 40 patients, right? You've got to scale the membership plans. We've had practices scale their membership program to generate $1 million a year in predictable recurring revenue, which is super powerful. That you could do that. The issue is most practice owners don't know how to market to generate more and more recurring revenue, right? Now that's an easy problem to fix, right? If I were to look at it, but the key is volume, right? You want volume, you want patients signing up at scale at volume to reach these benefits of recurring revenue. In addition to recurring revenue, when you get more of it, it increases the value of your business. Because recurring revenue is reliable and less risky than one-time transactional revenue, right? So if you're going to sell your practice, it's the next business owner or private equity firm or whatever, they're going to value recurring revenue a lot more because they know that it's going to come in whether that dentist is there or not, that the patients are committed with their wallets versus committed to Dr. Smith, who they've been seeing for years, right? So it's powerful too when you're transitioning to another dentist or another group that's buying your practice.
Makes sense. So let's expand on this. Now we talked about membership plan, what it is, what the benefits are. Let's talk about how do I grow it, right? Because without the membership plan, let's say having 500 members, it's not as valuable as a membership plan that only has 20 members, because you're going to see bigger checks every month. When you
want bigger checks.
Members. Yes.
So marketing is key, right? So internal and external marketing, right? So number one, you always start with your existing uninsured and inactive patients. Always. That's the low-hanging fruit. That's not
uninsured, inactive patients. So these are people who have been coming to your practice but haven't showed up for anything more than 6 months.
Yeah, I would say that. Within the year.
And then you want to start with them. What can you do specifically for that group of people, Jordan?
Yeah, so let's talk about the uninsured patients that are existing in the practice. Most of the time, they're not coming in on a regular basis, right? So they're not a consistent cash flow stream for the practice.
Right.
So by getting them to sign up for a membership program, you turn them on to a monthly recurring revenue stream almost immediately, right? We've had practices that launched their membership program, and within like 3 months, they have 300 active membership patients signed up to their membership program, right? And if you're charging, I think the average is $35 a month. So within 3 months, this practice is generating 10,500-ish in monthly recurring revenue. Or if you take that in yearly, it's $126,000 a year, where if you don't have a membership program and you're not attracting your existing uninsured patients, that's just revenue sitting there, right? That's not even being pushed through the practice. It's an opportunity zone.
These uninsured, inactive patients. So I assume you would do flyers. I mean, like signs in the office. You want
signage. You can send a letter out to those patients. You can send an email blast. A lot of our practices will use the Boom Cloud platform to text all their uninsured patients,
right?
And alert and tell them about their membership plan and get them to sign up, through the text message, or call the office to ask more information. So there's a lot of tools that you could use to get the word out. And then looking at each morning when you do your morning huddle, look at the patients that are coming in and identify the ones that don't have insurance, and simply put a reminder to talk to them about the membership plan. It's really simple.
Makes sense.
And then for external marketing, there's all sorts of things you can do. Everything from SEO to drive more traffic to your website and more visibility in your local market, to direct mail marketing. You can target like 55 and up communities and say, no insurance, we can help, type verbiage, on the postcards. You can reach out to small business owners and their employees and get them to sign up for your membership plan. Every one of my employees, when they join our company, the Boom Cloud pays for their membership plan to Dr. Anderson in Pleasant Grove, Utah, Central Dentist. Every one of my employees gets a benefit package that has a membership plan included, right? So you may have existing business owners that visit your office, on a regular basis. Talk to them and get their employees to sign up for your membership plan, right? That's a wonderful way, and get the business to pay for it, right? Or pay a portion of it. So that's another great way to expand your membership program, and just simply talking to every patient that comes in, right? New, existing. I think it's really just getting the word out. And sometimes I wish my business was ran like a dental office in regards to patients coming in every day, because that means you could talk to every single patient about a membership program and get them to sign up right there, right? Because a face-to-face conversation is a lot easier than like a text or an email conversation, right? To get someone signed up. So I think you have a lot of advantage when you're running a dental offices, because patients come in and they're talking to you face to face, and that's the best time to get them to say yes to something. So that's kind of my tips there.
Yeah. Now, you have seen really successful practices. You have, I think, some practices that do $1 million or more in membership and revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are some of their secrets? Like, what are some of the things? Is it like the compensation plan? Is there something they are doing that I bet everybody else should learn from?
Yeah, I've interviewed several of our top practices that have, are producing $1 million or more from just their membership fees. That's not restorative care. That's just membership fees. So they're making $1 million off of $35 monthly payments at scale, right? Well, yeah, all of them have layers of marketing channels that are working for them, right? They don't just say, well, we're just going to text our existing patients once, right? They have campaigns that they're doing every month, every quarter, that they're from an internal communication standpoint or marketing, and then external. Another thing that they're doing is a lot of successful practice incentivize their office staff, right? Whenever a patient signs up, you get a $10 gift card, right? Or whatever it may be, right? Like, you look at your numbers and what can the business afford. Sometimes practices will add like a one-time enrollment fee of like $25 and give $10 to the office manager, the team member that signs the patient up, right? So you can create incentives and like gamify the scaling of your membership program, which I would highly recommend. Because now that like your office team is not seeing your numbers go up, like, wow, we're making the doctor a ton of money off of the membership plan. Like, incentivize your team, get them included and get them on the same page with you. Then they start thinking the same way you do if they get a little benefit of for signing up the patient. If you think about that, some people are against giving commissions or bonuses for signing up patients to things, but the membership program there's a lot of benefits to the business side. There's also a ton of benefits to the patient side, right? The patient's able to receive some discounts and savings and get their preventative care included into the membership plan, right? So it's not just it's not a win-lose situation like dental insurance to the patient and to the practice. It's a win-win situation. So a lot of the practices will say, hey, our doctors really cares for their patients, for the patients, and wants you to get the best quality care and save some money. And I think that's a really, really powerful like positioning when you're talking to patients in regards to verbiage. So those are my tips.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Really appreciate it. As always, you know so much about this topic, and you have worked with hundreds, if not, I bet more than 1,000 practices across the country. So it's not just your experience, but I guess it's the collective experience of the tribe, so to speak.
Yeah, totally.
It is. Tribe. So what you learn from one person helps the other people in the community.
It really does. Yeah.
And I also want to take a minute to thank all of our listeners. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we are doing here. So if you love this podcast, please do one of three things. One, you can write a review for us on iTunes or Google Play. Two, you could share it with your friends on social media. Three, just bookmark insuranceuntangled.com and forward it to your friends. This podcast is dedicated to everyone who's kind of feels like they're stuck with insurance, but slowly but surely they're starting to lessen the control insurance have over their practices. So slowly but surely they're taking proactive steps. And the membership plan conversation is one of those proactive steps. And I think you could take baby steps. Just start somewhere. Like, try to get a membership plan that makes you $10,000 a month. That would change your game, right? All of a sudden you have $125,000 or $120,000 a year in recurring revenue. So on day one, you're going to have that money. So
yeah, and I got a resource. If you go to boomcloudapps.com, there's free ebooks that talk about how to scale up your membership plan. So go to boomcloudapps.com. You can get that ebook that will teach you how to get that first 10,000 in monthly recurring revenue and beyond.
That's awesome. It's so just go to boomcloudapps.com and then go to the section called free resources, right?
Free books, yeah.
Free books. Okay, perfect. We'll put a link also in chat notes. So if you, podcast notes. So if you can't find the link, we'll put a direct link so you can go there and get it as well.